Taking notes on a laptop has always been a controversial topic in college. Are they a convenience or a distraction? IU students and professors have different opinions on it. More and more college students are using laptops to take notes in class. But a recent study revealed students who take notes on papers retain more knowledge than those who typed. IU lecturer Marty Perrott agreed with it.
I think it's just more of a focus thing, that people pay more attention if they have to write it down.
The study also shows that students who take notes on laptop only spend 60% of class time taking notes.
If you go into a classroom and you stand in back of like a big hall and watch all the people with their laptops out, they're not doing anything to have with the class.
Students who take notes on their laptops did take more notes than those using the notebook. But the recent study shows the laptop students did not use their brain to process what was being taught. In other words, they are just transcribing, not processing. But some IU students disagree with keeping the laptop away from the class.
I feel like it should be a choice. I feel like they shouldn't go one way or another, and I found that most of my professors do. Just one I have right now doesn't, and I disagree with it.
At the end of the day, we're the ones paying for the classes. We're the ones who are paying the teachers to, teach us, because we don't learn the same way that people used to learn 20 years ago.
However, IU professor Song Yang never prohibits his students from using electronic devices in class.
If the students are allowed to use electronic devices for note-taking or any kind of reason related to their taking the class in the classroom, that's a bit much more convenient.
Yan said it's all up to the students to use the laptop properly for note-taking and not other purposes that can be distracting. Since typing is faster than writing, the study shows students who take longhand notes are forced to be more selective about what they write, which can be beneficial when it comes to studying. The North Korean Foreign Minister Lee Yong-ho says the U.S. President Donald Trump has declared a war by tweeting the North Korean leadership would not be around much longer. But the White House denied it right after.
We've not declared war on North Korea, and frankly, the suggestion of that is absurd.
He says the North Korea have the right to shoot down the United States strategic bombers, which means the war can be triggered anytime. Korean student Kang-Ju Kim here at IU is concerned about the prospect of the war.
I'm scared of my family there, and I'm worried about my family there.
However, IU sophomore Ong Yang-ji, also from Korea, says rhetoric is a way of life there.
Actually, I'm not really concerned because Kim Jong-un always says something, but he never done the actual thing.
Still, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has put actions behind his words, launching 22 missile tests and 1 successful nuclear test this year. Both Washington and Pyongyang are taking a strong stance in Korean Peninsula, with each side saying they will destroy the other. Both Ji and Kim say President Trump makes them as nervous as does Kim Jong-un.
I don't trust him.
I just feel like he's doing his own way. He's not really respecting everybody's opinions, because that's not what America's about.
This is Evan Wang for IU Newsnet. The Indiana Daily student, now 150 years old, is embroiled in a controversy about editorial independence. The newspaper feels some changes due to budget cuts could take away its freedom to report without interference from IU. We have reaction from both sides, the IDS and the Dean of Media School. The news came in the front page, letter from the editor, about what it calls the forced early resignation of the director of student media, Ron Johnson. We started with budget cuts. Editor-in-chief Jamie Zega fears will end in the loss of editorial control.
We feel at the IDS it kind of was the dean stepping in a little too much.
Stepping in, she says, but moving up the departure date of Ron Johnson by a month, something the editor calls an overreach.
That will affect our day-to-day operations just a little bit, and that sort of opens the door to further issues down the line.
But the Dean of Media School says he has no intention of walking through that door of editorial independence, which has been the mission of IDS for 150 years.
Well, I don't buy that there's a door opened. I mean that the door, I just wouldn't even use that metaphor.
Shanahan says the media school has no intention of interfering with the editorial content of the ADS.
There has never been an avenue by which we've sought to control what they publish. It should be obvious from what they've published that we don't control them.
By design, the ADS gets its funding from the ad revenues, a charter that limits potential university control of its content. But with revenues declining across the newspaper business, the ADS faces a $250,000 physical loss this year. It cut the printing schedule from 5 to 2 days, leaning more toward online content. The media school dean does have authority to hire the director of student media, and Shanahan says he asked Ron Johnson to leave a month early purely for financial reasons.
There will have to be thought about what the structure and the future of the IDS will be, especially in terms of the finances of it. But there's no scenario I can imagine where their editorial independence would be threatened.
The dean says he intends to hire a replacement for Ron Johnson, a new director of student media, one who can navigate the serious financial challenges facing the IDS. Currently, the IDS pays 75% of that person's salary, and the university pays the rest. Johnson's last day is December 1st.